Hello, today we're going to talk about verbs, the objectives. We're going to talk about verbs, linking verbs, verb agreement, helping verbs, to be verbs, 6 of the basic verb tenses, and irregular verbs. By definition, a verb is a word that expresses an action or a state of being. You'll want to remember that the verb is the most important word in any sentence. A complete sentence must have a subject and a verb. A verb tells what the subject does or what happens to it. And a verb can make a statement, ask a question, or give a command. Remember, the verb is found in the predicate portion of the sentence. Linking verbs. Linking verbs are state of being verbs. They show the state of being of the person or the thing, or the condition of the person or the thing. So here are some state of being verbs. They're to be verbs. Be, am, is, are, was, were, has been, have been, had been, shall be, shall have been, will have been. Also, the words appear, become, feel, grow, sound, seem, look, and taste can also be used as linking verbs. You'll be able to tell. So an example here, very short sentence, she is hungry. Well, we know that she is the subject, is the state of being verb, the linking verb, and hungry is what she is. So is linking hungry to what she is. And that is also when you have a linking verb, it will link to a predicate nominative or a predicate adjective. So in this case, hungry is an adjective, so it's the predicate adjective. Another example is Kate Moss is a famous model. Kate Moss is the subject, is the linking verb, model is what is being linked. It's describing what Kate Moss is. Linking verbs, when using state of being verbs alone in the verb form to be, the verb will link the subject of the sentence with a predicate noun, pronoun, or adjective. So when this happens, when it links to a noun or a pronoun, that is the predicate nominative, and when it links to an adjective, it's a predicate adjective. Helping verbs. So a verb phrase contains more than one verb. There is a main verb in the phrase. Usually the last word in the phrase is the main verb. All the other verbs in the phrase are helping verbs that help the main verb tell what the subject or subjects are doing. So in this example, I have the student had answered the question. So you know that student is the subject. The verb phrase is had answered, because had is a verb and answered is a verb. Remember that I said answered. Usually the last verb in the phrase is the main verb. So this is just telling us that the student had answered the question. And then here's another example. We will be going to the movies. So will be is the verb phrase, and will is helping be. Verb agreement. So this is where grammar comes into play here. You need to have verb agreement. So you have to be able to identify your subject and your verb, and you have to make them agree. So a singular subject must have a singular verb. A plural subject must have a plural verb. The exception to the rule is the pronoun you. When you're using the pronoun you will always use the plural form of the verb. So, example, she loves sleeping late on weekends, and they love sleeping late on weekends. One tip that I read in one of the English review books is that usually singular subjects do not end in an S or an ES, but they often take a verb that does end in an S or an ES. And then many plural subjects end in S or ES. The verbs that go with the plural subject are usually they don't end in the S or ES. So you could see here that she is singular, loves is also singular, but you'll notice it ends in an S. They is plural, love is plural also, but you'll see that it doesn't end in an S. So it's kind of interesting how it's a little bit reversed, or yeah. Okay, to be verbs. So am, is, and was are singular forms of the verb be and require singular subjects. Are and were are plural forms of the verb be and require plural subjects. So you just want to look out for that. So when you're using she is, so she, you would use is afterwards. They, you would use are, because they is plural, so you would use are. We have 6 of the basic verb tenses here. There are more. Verb tenses define the time when an action occurs, whether it's present, past, or future. So you could see that present tense, they talk. So they're talking right now. Present perfect tense, they have talked. Past tense, they talked. Past perfect tense, they have talked. Future tense, they will talk. And future perfect, they will have talked. So we'll break those down a little bit. Present tense, describe an action happening now. Present tense uses the basic form of the verb. Sometimes you will add an S to the basic form. You can see here in my example, I walk is present, he walks is present. So there's an example of one using an S and one not. So I walk every morning. Walk is the basic form of the verb. So past tense. The past tense ends in ed. The past tense expresses action or state of being that has happened in the past. We rely on past tense words to express that an action has been completed, that it's already happened. So an example here using past tense is the word cooked. He cooked breakfast yesterday. Also walked is past tense, so they walked yesterday. Future tense. The future tense shows an action or state of being that will take place in the future. The future tense is formed by adding helping verbs, will or shall, to the present tense form of the verb. So a few examples here. I will call you later. So will call is the future tense. They will walk tonight. So will walk is future tense. He will cook dinner tomorrow night. Will cook is also future tense. Present perfect tense. Present perfect tense expresses action or state of being that began in the past and that may still be going on. It is formed with the helping verb has or have and the past participle form of the verb. So here we have they have walked. So have walked is the present perfect tense this morning. And when you look at this, you can see that they have walked means that this has happened in the past, but it is going up to, actually, they have walked this morning. Sorry, they have walked means that this has happened in the past, but it was completed this morning to the present. He has cooked breakfast every day for a month. This happened in the past all the way through today. So looking at past perfect tense expresses a past action or state of being that happened before another past action or state of being. It is formed with the helping verb had and the past participle. So you have an example here. They had walked before eating breakfast. So you know that they took their walk before they ate their breakfast. So you have two past tense things that have happened. One happened before the other. He had cooked breakfast when suddenly the fire alarm sounded. So again, he had cooked breakfast is something that had happened in the past when suddenly the fire alarm sounded. Both happened in the past, but one happened before the other. Future perfect tense. Future perfect tense expresses an action or state of being that will have ended before a specific time or event in the future. It is formed with the helping verbs will have or shall have in the past participle. So an example here, they will have walked before breakfast. He will cook breakfast tomorrow morning, and then he will have cooked every morning for 1 month. So you can see that they will have walked before, or they will have walked before breakfast is talking about something that they will do in the future before they eat their breakfast. Irregular verbs. So we've been talking about how we can change basic verb forms by adding helping verbs along with the past participle. So I have a table there that says the basic form of the verb, the present tense is walk. Past tense would be walked. We added the ed. Past participle, have walked. Present participle, are walking. Now with irregular verbs, they don't always follow these rules because some of these words, they either just change their spelling or they don't change at all, and they can fit into these different groups of present or past. So here are just a few. The present tense for begin, past tense began, past participle, have begun, present participle are beginning, and so on. In conclusion, we've talked about verbs, linking verbs, verb agreement, helping verbs, to be verbs, 6 of the basic verb tenses, and irregular verbs.